You know that feeling when it's 2 a.m. and your brain just won't shut up? When you're lying there solving problems that don't even exist yet, replaying conversations, planning tomorrow, fixing things you can't fix right now? A king once knew that feeling better than anyone alive. And the person who finally helped him wasn't a doctor, wasn't a scholar. It was the last person anyone expected. There was once a king who had everything a man could ever want. Gold that could fill rivers, an army that had never lost, a palace so big it took a full day to walk from one end to the other. But every night, while his kingdom slept peacefully around him, the king lay wide awake, staring at the ceiling, counting the hours until sunrise. He hadn't slept in years. And the thing that was keeping him awake? It wasn't an enemy. It wasn't a curse. It was something much worse. And by the end of this story, you're going to know exactly what it was. Because there's a good chance it's keeping you up, too. They called his kingdom the jewel of the world. And honestly, it was. The walls were tall, the harvests were full, the people were fed. Nobody attacked because nobody dared. And the king, he'd built all of it. Every road, every wall, every law. He woke before sunrise, worked until the last candle burned out, and if something went wrong at the border, he wanted to know about it before anyone else did. He didn't just sit on the throne, he earned it. And it was slowly killing him. Because that's what good kings do, right? You carry it all. You make sure nothing falls apart. But here's what nobody saw. One night, a messenger rode in from the eastern border. Urgent news. The kind of letter that needed a decision before sunrise. The king read it again, read it a third time. The words wouldn't hold. They just slid off his mind like water off stone. His general stood there waiting, asked him what the letter said, and the king, the man who'd built this entire kingdom with his mind, looked up and couldn't answer. He stared at the page like it was written in a language he'd forgotten. He made a decision that night. He couldn't remember what it was the next morning. Neither could anyone else. That's how small his thinking got. That's what exhaustion does. It doesn't break you all at once. It just makes you a little less yourself every day until you don't recognize the person making your decisions. Now, I know what you're thinking. Just take a break. Slow down. Let someone else handle it for a while. Hold that thought, because that's exactly what everyone around him said. And I'll tell you right now, that advice is the most useless thing you can say to someone who's already drowning. They know they should stop. They can't. And if you've ever been that person, you know exactly what I mean. And nothing did fall apart. Not his kingdom, anyway. Just him. It started small. A night here and there where sleep just wouldn't come. He'd lie there, eyes burning but refusing to close, pillow wrong no matter how many times he turned it, his own heartbeat the loudest thing in the room. Thinking about tomorrow's problems, then last week's problems, then problems that hadn't even happened yet. Then it wasn't a night here and there. It was every night. His mind wouldn't stop, like a wheel somebody set spinning and nobody knew how to slow it down. He knew something was wrong. He could feel it. This heaviness behind his eyes. A fog that followed him everywhere. Like he was running a race that didn't have a finish line. But he couldn't stop. Because if he stopped, who would keep things running? Who would check the borders? Who would make the decisions? Who would hold it all together? So the king did what powerful people do when something breaks. He tried to fix it. He called the best doctors in the land. The most famous one came with a bag full of jars, mixed something that smelled like wet earth and old flowers, told him to drink it all. The king drank it, lay back, waited, felt his stomach turn, felt the minutes crawl past, felt absolutely nothing change. The doctor stood there watching, and after a while he quietly packed his bag and left. Didn't say a word on the way out. That was the best one. The rest were worse. Scholars who waved their hands around his head like they were shooing away invisible birds. Builders who tore his bedroom apart 3 times. Silence all night. Horses ridden until his legs gave out. None of it mattered. Every single night, the same ceiling, the same darkness, the same mind that wouldn't shut up. Now, remember what I said at the beginning? That the thing keeping him awake wasn't an enemy or a curse? That it was something much worse? We're almost there, because what happened next is the part that changed everything. Word spreads, even from palaces, especially from palaces. And one morning a guard came to the king with a message. An old woman at the palace gates was asking to see him. She said she knew why he couldn't sleep. Now, the king had heard this before. Every healer, every scholar, every wise man had promised the same thing. They all knew. None of them did. But something made him say yes. Maybe it was the tiredness. Maybe he'd run out of options. Or maybe, and this is the part that matters, he was just desperate enough to listen to someone he'd normally ignore. They brought her in. She was small. Old in a way that made you feel like she'd been old forever. Wrapped in a shawl that had more patches than fabric. She didn't bow. Didn't even look nervous. She looked at him the way you'd look at a child who's been playing too long and doesn't know he's tired. Calm. She said, "You don't need a cure, King. You need to understand something." He said, "I've heard that before." She said, "You've heard a lot of things. That's part of the problem. And I need you to really hear what she asked him next. Not as a story about some king in some palace. This question is for you. It's for me. It's for anyone who's ever stared at a ceiling at 2 a.m. wondering why their brain won't stop. How many rooms are in this palace?" He paused. "I don't know. Hundreds. How many do you sleep in?" "1. Then why are you carrying the weight of all the others to bed with you every night?" He didn't answer. He couldn't. Because she wasn't really asking about rooms. Think about that for a second. Not about the king. About you. How many rooms are you carrying right now? How many things that aren't even in front of you are taking up space in your head? Tomorrow's meeting that might go badly. Last month's argument you keep replaying. A problem at work that you can't solve tonight, but you're solving it anyway, over and over in your head at 2 a.m. while the rest of the world sleeps. You and I do this. We carry things that haven't happened yet, things that already happened and can't be changed, things that aren't even ours to carry. And we wonder why we're so tired, why we can't enjoy the good things even when they're right in front of us. It's because we're not in the room we're actually in. We're in all the other rooms, the ones we can't even reach right now. The other rooms matter. Of course they do. But you can walk into them tomorrow. Right now, you're in this one. And if you keep dragging every other room in here with you, you'll never rest. You don't have to solve everything before you're allowed to sleep. The king didn't say anything for a long time after she left. He sat there in his throne room, which suddenly felt too big, too full of things that needed deciding. And that night, he did something he hadn't done in years. He walked to his bedroom, he closed the door, and for the first time, he didn't bring anything with him. No reports, no plans, No lists in his head of things to fix in the morning. Just himself. Just the room. Just the quiet. And he slept. Not because his problems disappeared. They didn't. The kingdom still needed its king. It would need him again in the morning. But for the first time, the morning could wait. He was in this room, not all the others. Just this one. And that was enough. I think about this story sometimes, late at night, when my own ceiling starts looking too familiar. Because I do the same thing. And I bet you do too. We lie there rehearsing tomorrow, replaying yesterday, fighting battles that aren't happening right now, solving things that don't need solving at 3 a.m. And we tell ourselves that's what strong people do. Carry it all, never put it down, never admit it's too heavy. But somewhere along the way, the carrying stopped being strength and started being the thing that was breaking us. We just didn't notice because we were too busy holding on. You don't have to solve everything tonight. You don't have to fix everything before you rest. It'll all still be there tomorrow. None of it is going anywhere. But you're here, right now, and this is the only place that needs you tonight. Close the door. Put it down. Let everything else be quiet for a while. A king with everything in the world learned this from an old woman with nothing. You don't need a palace to understand it. You just need one room. And you're already in it.